Working meditation. Mm, yeah, working meditation for me is a very important practice because I do a lot of work, and work is important. And mm, we need clothes to wear and food to eat and shelter and many other things. So we need to work for these things. And there's absolutely no reason why we can't do all of that stuff and be really happy. And there's no reason why we need to suffer if we're going to work. So, the first practice that I would like to share about on working meditation is being in touch with why I work. And for example, in some of the jobs that I had, I was working just for my own survival, just so I could have a place to stay and food to eat. And um, and working was having a job was scary a lot of the time. But I was in I was in contact with the reasons for working, and the practicing working meditation in those jobs helped me to be in touch with my fears and not being imprisoned by them. Because I was confronting my fears like every day when I left my place to go to work and when I was at work. Um, and through practicing that and recognizing the fear that I had about being at doing whatever it was or being with people that I didn't know, or in that kind of uh, social dynamic. Uh, I was hitting my fears over and over again, and this was a big part of my healing process and how I uh, you know, broke through those fears and got to see that they were an idea in my head that had been preventing me, and that there wasn't really anything to be afraid of. And there wasn't any reason why I couldn't do the job that I was doing and be working with the people that I was working with and earn the money that I was earning and have a place to stay and have food and all these things that I had been worried about or had doubts about myself, whether I was worthy to have these things, to be in this situation, and so on. Mm. And here in Plum Village, working meditation is much easier because when I was living in the city, I would just take any job I could in order that I could have money for a place to stay and so on. And so here, like, I'm given a place to stay, I'm given food, I'm not given clothes, but that's a small matter unless I'm, I consider the Lost and Found as a place where I can get clothes, which I try not to. Um, so I don't have that. I don't have to worry about that uh, basic level of survival like I used to. And but also here, I'm kind of given whatever job the work coordinator or the Sangha assigns to me. And but also again, I'm in touch with the reason for working. And here, the reason for working is not just the reason for working, but the reason why I'm working here. And and it's very wonderful when I remember that I'm working here instead of working some other place just for myself. I'm here working whatever job is needed or asked of me because I want to serve people, and because I love Plum Village and I love what Thai has done to offer to people, and I want to be part of that. Yeah, it's really like Thai has done all the hard work, and then a few other of his like oldest followers have done all this hard work, and then I just get to benefit. Like, oh wow, come here and live your dreams of like having a rich life, helping the world, and feel good about it, and we even give you a place to stay and food, and then thousands of people to be friends with who just come here and visit from all around the world. This is a pretty awesome deal. Um, so there's a lot of happiness that that I have the potential of experiencing from from being in touch with why I'm working here. And then also in particular situations in a job, um, uh, I've experienced a lot of anxiety, and I remember quite clearly at one of my jobs in the city. Um, Fortunately, I was working alone I was alone in the room on working on something when this happened, and I had like a panic attack, and because I was alone at the time, I just lay down on the floor and I breathed until I could function again. And uh, yeah, often things that I have to encounter in work mm, will be difficult for me, and one of the things that I think is valuable about working meditation is that it shows you where you are, and it gives you the challenging opportunities you need in order to practice. Yeah, it gives me opportunities to become more skillful, and yeah, and one of my jobs in the city, uh, I had two bosses, and they were a married couple were that fought all the time, and it was working in a restaurant, and it was nothing could be done fast enough, um, and nothing could be done. It was impossible to do anything in a way that they would be happy, and mm, yeah, it was a really uncomfortable situation to be in, kind of caught between. There were the two my two bosses, and then two other employees and me. So it was just like this tight space in the middle of downtown, really cramped, surrounded by food utensils, trying to churn out as much food as possible, as fast as possible. And these people fighting and blaming each other and blaming me, and like the boss would blame this other person, that person would blame me, and and there were a lot of unpleasant things that I experienced there, but I also practiced with it, and I took, because the situation was so toxic, I used every opportunity to practice, to calm myself, to to nourish myself and feed myself the good resources that I had available in my mind. And so I had a half-hour lunch break, and I would make sure to find a quiet place where, you know, I still had to eat pretty quickly to be back in time for work, but I made sure that that time for lunch would be a sacred time for me to replenish myself so that I could go back into it. And also I had to deliver food to people that had ordered food from us, and so then I was on my own for that. And in those situations, I used, you know, the time I was pushing a cart of food to some nearby building. I was doing walking meditation, and then I'd go in an elevator, and I would do elevator meditation, and I would interact with people in the building where I was taking food, and you know, and I would practice giving them a smile, and you know, just for myself, so that I could had an opportunity to smile and touch my flower nature, my freshness, and I really learned a lot from that job. It ended up that I was fired from that job, and I realized much later that I really should have quit. If I were listening to myself, I would have quit that job. Yeah, I would have quit that job long before I would have got fired. They fired me, but I learned a lot from that job. I learned a lot about. I got to see a lot of the suffering of the people that lived in this city with me, and I got to see. My bosses were really dreadfully unpleasant people to be with. You know, abusive to me and to the other people there, but I could still see that they had a lot of goodness, and I could still appreciate them and respect them. And yeah, and it really touched me to see how they suffered. So, working meditation has often for me been a storm, and it's a storm that, and I need those storms to remind me I can't be lazy about this. I have to keep practicing, and I have to keep practicing when there isn't a storm, because I don't know when the next storm will come. But it helps when there's regular storms at somewhat regular intervals, because then I'll be like, oh right, there's probably another one coming. I should practice now, and not take it for granted. Yeah. And here in Plum Village, my practice of working meditation, I think like the most difficult part is just that I have a habit of wanting to talk to people while I work. And now at the Happy Farm, we practice noble silence for the first half or so of all of our working sessions, and because we're a team, and we made that decision together as a team that we would have noble silence for that whatever that set period of time, that gave me the necessary support I needed to use that as a chance to check into with myself of what is it that I don't want to face while working, and the times that I have managed to succeed with this practice, which has not been every day, yeah, a lot of the time there's just this kind of a habit of resistance to paying attention, like just doing what I'm doing and paying attention to it. And so often, I'll have the thought like, I should think of something to say to someone, or I should say, oh, I want to say this to someone, or I should think of something to say to someone. And then I use that as a reminder when I remember. I use that as a reminder to um, to put my focus back on the task that I'm doing. And when I do that, I find that the task I'm doing is really very pleasant and very enjoyable. And it doesn't matter what task I'm doing on the farm. I find it pretty darn pleasant. And particularly at the farm, I invite my 5-year-old self to come and work with me. And he really enjoys it. He enjoys a lot of things in Plum Village. He enjoys the work, enjoys the ceremonies most of the time. And he enjoys the sitting meditation, he enjoys touching the earth, he enjoys the meals, like the formal meals. And when I invite my 5-year-old self to come and work with me, um, he's very happy. He is very happy. Yeah. And the next topic, stress. This is one that I think I may have got figured out. We'll see. I'll be tested. I'm sure of it. Um, and this has to do with the our deep, the energy behind which motivates why we work or why we do what work we do. Um, I am at a I'm in my relationship with myself and with work is at a very wonderful place where I work because I enjoy working for myself. I enjoy working for myself and little 5-year-old Scott. And that is why I work. That is the energy that from which I approach work. And I know in the past the energy that I approached work with was mostly fear of disapproval of someone. So, and that would get my mind spinning of like, is this going to be good enough for whoever it is? Am I doing it enough? Am I doing it correctly? Am I doing it fast enough? Did I forget something? Am I following the instructions correctly? Or am I going to be, could I be punished for this in some way? And um, and I know also in school, I had that energy driving my work, and also in school I had the energy of being wanting to be seen as special, to be recognized, to to be recognized and appreciated, and and that came from a fear and a doubt in myself that that I didn't. It became because I didn't know what I was. I thought maybe I'm something bad. Maybe I'm something in that that brings pain and suffering to other people, particularly to the people that I love, that I want to be well. So having this doubt of thinking that I might have been confused about whether I am something bad, something that brings suffering to people, that harms people, that damages people, um, or damages other beings. Um, then I unconsciously I try to fill myself with kind of examples that that's not the case. Examples that I am, in fact, some great person or brilliant or a genius and yes, in fact, I'm a secret genius that's is just has been hidden for years, and it was just waiting for me to do some brilliant thing in school or in work to to be seen, and the question of what my true nature is will be answered. Yes, I am brilliant. That is my true nature. In fact, I am possibly better than everyone else. And that's why it was worth all those things that I thought were me causing suffering to people that I love. It was all just, I don't know, that's getting a bit confused now. But when I had that doubt about myself, about what my true nature was, I was tossed about between thinking I was something really good, or that I was something evil even, or bad or wrong or broken. And well, life's a lot easier when I don't have that confusion. And when we don't have that confusion, then everything becomes clear, and we don't have to push ourselves to work when it's causing us to be unhappy, it's causing us to get grouchy or down, or leading us to exhaustion and getting us stressed. Yeah, it's burnout. The root of burnout is this confusion of like, what is my true nature? Am I something bad? Am I something good? And and in that confused place, we're like, well, if I do something really good, really amazing, that means I must be good, right? But then you do something, and it might have been amazing, but that doesn't help with the confusion. You're still confused. And yeah, a lot of the energy that I've put into whatever I've done has been from that thinking of, if I do something really really great, something really beautiful, something really good, then that will mean I'm good. That'll mean I'm lovable, or so on like that. Mm. So my practice of working meditation has been supported by my practice of loving kindness meditation to myself. My practice of being with my 5-year-old self and taking care of my 5-year-old self, so that I don't have the question of what my true nature is. And I don't get, I don't swing back between these two extremes. And a big part of my practice to help me to get to this point is recognizing where the limits of my capacity where my limits are, the limits of my capacity. And yeah, this one has been very tough. I have to, I will have an idea of what should be done, there's definitely, it's very clear, I can be in touch with what I would like to be done, what I would like to be able to do, what I would like to happen for myself, for others, for the community, for the world, for my colleagues, my friends, and mm, and this is a very important part of being in touch with myself, is to recognize what it is, what the ideal is that I would like to happen, to have. And and again, this ties into the confusion about my true nature. There's an idea that if I can't do the thing, the ideal thing that I know is what I want, what I wish for, what my aspiration is, I am. When I have that confusion, I will think that if I can't do that, achieve that ideal, then that means that I am broken or wrong or bad or whatever. And this can be used against the mean part of my mind, can use that against me as evidence to try to prove to myself that I am of some bad nature. And I worked very diligently for many years to accept that, yes, this is what I want, this is what I wish for others and so whatever it is, but this is what I'm capable of, this part. And I have to respect that. I have to work within that, because when I go beyond that, I'm pushing myself, I'm exhausting myself, I'm trying to draw on resources that I don't have, and it's really going to be a detriment to me. It's going to be a detriment to, it's not going to be helpful to the people that I want to help. It's going to, I will be suffering, and then I will, of course, make others suffer by pushing myself beyond what I'm capable. And again, for years, I was frustrated that my capacity was only here. And and I'm like, okay, I come back to here where, within what I can do. And then again, like, I want to, but no, I have to stay here with where my capacity is. And then the other side, what, like I shared at the beginning, with the fears of like just going to work and being in whatever the situation was. I will also have wrong ideas about thinking that, oh no, my capacity is only here. I can't do that. But in fact, my capacity is over there, and I need to go up and meet that limit. And because when I'm at that limit, then that just being at the limit helps to make it expand and grow. And then gradually, then we have the capacity of Thai to embrace the entire world. Yeah. Yeah, our mind plays these wonderful little games on us, thinking, oh, we can do that thing way over there, or no, I can only do something over here. It takes a lot of practice to really see where our limits are, see what is a good, a, a useful, a useful course of action to take that uses the full power of of our current potential, and doesn't pull us. We don't let our mind pull us into either extreme of uh, doing more than we're capable of or less than we're capable of. And one thing that I wish for everyone is that they can work as a free person. That is, work as a free person is to work without our mind pulling us, pushing us to do more, or shying us away from doing what we can do. And part of part of both of those will be a voice in our head that tells us that we need to be a certain way, that we need to be doing us to a certain level, that the internalization of external standards, external evaluation. Evaluation. Yes, I can work as a free person. And my 5-year-old self comes beside me, and together we weed the garden as free people. And no one is telling us, no one is giving us this work as a punishment. No one is giving us this work as a reward because we're brilliant or something. We're just weeding the garden because Mother Earth is there, we're there, the sky is there, the trees are there, the sunshine is there, the wind is there, the earth is there, and the vegetables are there, and the weeds are there too, and they shouldn't be. Yeah. And I would like to share that especially when I was the compost intern in Upper Hamlet. When I was the compost intern in Upper Hamlet, um, a lot of strong emotions were coming up in me, and yeah, there was I was in contact with mm, stress for sure, and also with depression and yeah, heaviness and yeah, busy, lots of worries and anxieties and yeah, I guess anxieties and agitation in my head. There things were coming up that were causing me non-peace, and and fortunately, at least for especially this one part of the job, I was the only one doing it, and it had to be done, and there was no one else who could help me because I was the only one who knew how to do it. And so there was a period of like, I don't know, like 9 months or something where I didn't have a day off. And I remember it was the very day that I finally found someone to help me, so that who could do it without me being there to show him how to do it. I was sick. So I think that was a sign that I was actually sick earlier, but my body was like pressing it down, trying to help me to get through the period. Um, but I I used the working meditation time. I would bring the anxiety, the agitation, the worry, the depression, the sadness, Oh yeah, loneliness. Loneliness. That was a big one. I bring the loneliness, whatever it was that was that I was suffering from. I bring it to the work, and and I would go to the compost. I would make the compost mix, put on the kitchen waste, put on the straw, put on the grass, put on the manure and everything, and I would mix it in with the pitchfork, and I wasn't really thinking about it intellectually or trying anything, but I was just allowing my body to do the work. But I can tell that at some level, when I was putting all the waste materials into a pile, mixing it and turning the piles and allowing them to transform to become beautiful topsoil, the you know out out from my mind into my body and through my arms into the pitchfork into the pile, all of my anxiety, my agitation, loneliness, worry, sadness, depression, heaviness, they went into the compost. The compost composted me. And every single time that I went down to the compost site feeling like crap, I remember I paid attention. Every single time I came back up feeling clear, fresh, solid, alive, bright. It was better than sitting meditation. um, I loved the compost. I really loved that job. That was an awesome job. That was the best job I've ever had. Yeah, yeah. And I also got in touch with my father and me doing that job. And yeah, experiencing the joy of like just lifting something heavy. I was lifting heavy things a lot. And doing something with my hands. I was like, wow, this is really fun. Hey, that's why my father does all that stuff, because it's really fun for him too. And he's passed on the joy of making things or doing things with his hands and lifting heavy things. He's passed on that enjoyment to me. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for passing on that piece of beauty and joy and well-being to me. And I was also in touch with his anger and self-judgment. And I remember at least somehow only it was only the times when I was working alone that, like, I don't know, something would grow wrong and I'd be like and and I'd be like, where did that come from? I think I know. I just don't want to admit it. So now on the Happy Farm, now that we've when we started this season with our new Happy Farm interns, I shared with them about how we can practice working meditation and how this is, how we often have resistance to working meditation, and we also often have internalized external standards pushing us to work, pushing us to work beyond our capacity, beyond our comfort, beyond the point where we're happy. And I shared that working meditation is an opportunity for us to bring the difficulties, sadness, and all the mental noise, and we can channel it into whatever activity we're doing and allow it to go into the earth, allow the earth to absorb it, to absorb the unwholesome mental formations and the busyness, and allow us to be fresh and nourished. And that it's also an opportunity to be in contact with the whole universe and with our 5-year-old selves and with our parents and and that we can work as free people. And we don't have to. We don't need to. Yeah, we can make ourselves slaves, thinking we have to do something, do a certain amount or in a certain way. I think the only thing that I'd like to share about that I haven't yet is about social interactions in work. And yeah, on the when I was doing the compost, this this was a good practice for me to ask for help, because I needed help. It was very clear. I couldn't fool myself. I couldn't fool myself that I could do it all alone, because I did that for several months, and it was very unpleasant. Um, and it was very difficult for me to ask for help, and I had to learn some. I had to develop some skills to maneuver through the community to find people, the people that I needed to talk to who could, make something happen, and to find the way to talk to them that would make it about togetherness and not about you should help me because da 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 da. And yeah, and I was able to put aside the stress and the pressure that I had in myself to doing the job and getting the help that I needed, and to approach people with freshness and with joy, and allow them, to give them an opportunity to be like to touch the enjoyment of the work, and to share the enjoyment that I experienced with other people. And there were a lot of people that I worked with who really enjoyed it. There was one man who planned to come for 2 weeks, and the very first working meditation session, he came and worked the compost with me, and then he shared with me later. He stayed 3 weeks, and he said he stayed the extra week because of the compost, and he came every working meditation. He was like, "I'm doing the compost," and he really, yeah, he really felt the same peace that I shared about, where all the negative mental noise, it went, it just dissolved, dissolved, washed away when he was composting with me. Yeah. So I was able to share that with him by my practice of asking for help, and asking for help in the right ways, from the right place. And at least, especially for me, I have a lot of difficulty with communication, with sharing my view, sharing my perspective. And too often, I think, because of my experiences in school, and with my family, I'm used to thinking that other people know more than me about whatever the topic is, and that whatever they do is better than anything that I would come up with. So I don't offer my opinion, I don't share my view, and I don't make suggestions, and I don't question why other people have decided to do this or end up doing that. And yeah, so this is where I am now. I recognize that I need to ask these questions, ask questions of other people, of why they've decided, or why they're doing it one way, and what their thinking behind that is, and then to get into a discussion of what I think, and we work together to come up with an idea that's better than either of our ideas individually. Yeah. And then other than that, for social interactions, beginning anew is a practice that I very much enjoy. And I've had to practice it a few times, and it's always been enjoyable. And yeah, do you have any questions? Any questions for me?
Yeah, thank you very much for your sharing. Yeah, I feel we have to end soon. Maybe you can just share your favorite practice in working meditation that you would recommend to beginners to start with.
Hmm. I would recommend to beginners that they place in their mind the question that I asked at the beginning of why do I work? What is my reason for working? And and what is the energy that I'm working from? Is it a voice in me that's pushing me, or something like that? To have these, to bring that up when at the beginning of the work, just to think, okay, I'll watch out for these things. And if you happen to be fortunate enough to come to a retreat at Plum Village or another practice center, and you have working meditation in the schedule, this is a wonderful opportunity to help someone else who has responsibility. And you can just be chopping vegetables or picking up something and putting it over there or whatever it is. And you don't have to worry about finishing the job. You don't even, half the time in Plum Village, we don't even understand what the job is. And so the next working meditation might be undoing what we've already done. But we don't have to worry, in this situation, we don't have to worry about any of that, because that's someone else's job. Our job is just to enjoy doing that. And this is quite a gift, to taste work without there needing to be an outcome. When we want an outcome, that is when the stress comes, and that's the first step towards exhaustion, burnout, and all kinds of ill-being. So if you can get your hands on some very simple work that where you don't have to make decisions. Someone else has already made the decisions for you. So you don't have to think, do I this or this or this or maybe that? And when you start getting to that, then much more difficult. Start with something simple, tangible, see a change. Something where you see a tangible change happen, and where someone else is in charge. And this is where I got to see, like, there is a way to work. It is possible to work without without being a slave to it, or driven by some ideas in my head. And now I'm taking that energy with me into work that I have a responsibility for, where I do need to have an outcome. Yeah, and if you're not on a retreat and you have to do the work, then what helped me the most was the practice of looking where my limits were and respecting them, and then practicing that when it's the thing that I need, the thing that's asked of me or the thing that's required is beyond my limits, I go ask for help. I tell someone, I'm not able to do this. I can do this if I have this help and this help, or I can tell you this is what I'm capable of doing. This is what I have the capacity and the ability to do. If we still need to have this other thing done, we will have to come up with a plan, and bring people in. The other, bring other people to as a team. These people are on your side. It's not these people who gave me this job, or these people who are wanting, or they're not demanding some task or something like that. It's these people we're part of the same team. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm happy you're here.